Greetings and salutations to all you lovely listeners out there. Welcome to the next episode of the KittyFoxCast. This time, it is currently Thursday night at 11... I'm sorry, it is Wednesday night at 11:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time as I'm recording this. It has been quite a weekend/week. I have returned from WPAFW 2023. Some of you may not know what that is because I'm surprised at the number of furries that don't know what that is, but then again, it is a very small convention. Western Pennsylvania Furry Weekend, WPAFW, which doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense, and I think I said this in the last episode. That acronym is said weird, like WPAFW. It's said it like that. There's no A. And it's really funny because I've seen, like, on Twitter and other social media, people spelling out the acronym as WPAFA, which is phonetically correct, but the way we say it, but it is not correct as far as the acronym goes. Also, Archie is being very much a nuisance right now, wanting pets. I think it's because I've been gone all day, working and such, and here he is trying to get his moment with me, which is really kind. So thank you, Archie, for wanting me to pet you. But yes, he's a needy boy, and he'll do this thing where he'll sit on me and then he'll like claw at my shirt, or he'll like reach up and try to and he'll like sometimes smack my face because I'm not petting him the way he wants. So like right now he's tabletopping on me and he's like leaning into the pets because it's like, oh, give me more please, more please. So right now his tail is swishing over the microphone, so I imagine he'll be bumping it at some point during this recording. So anyway, like right there, he just bumped it, so my apologies to your ears if that comes through. I will fix it in post. Anyway, so WPAFW 2023. What a time it was. I really had a great time. It was about a couple hundred people, which is, they cap it at a certain attendee level because the venue that serves the convention can only hold so many people. It is done outside. It is an outside convention, and it is done on the very tip top of a hill at North Park in right outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So basically you park your car down in a parking lot area and you shuttle your way up the hill, which is about a mile up. It looks kind of like a campground. It's got like ball fields, and it's got a lodge, and it's got a silo, and like an amphitheater type thing, and it's got places for campfires. It's really, really nice. Very photogenic if you want to take fursuit pictures. Highly recommend. The lodge is home to tabletop gaming and the raffle den, which they don't have a dealer's den. They do have like a very small vendors area, but not a whole lot of vendors go there. Usually it's just, you can buy like WPAFA swag, and the raffle area, you put tickets in and they do a big raffle drawing on Saturday night. And depending on how many tickets you have in one place or in multiple places, your name may get called. So that's a very cool concept for an event, a con event. So also, if you're sponsor level or higher, and if you're 21 plus, emphasis on 21 plus, then you get unlimited alcohol. So they have many beers, ales, and IPAs on tap. They have ciders. They have, might do some shots here and there. You know, they have some wine. They have a very special drink, which I cannot talk about because the name itself has a bad word in it. So let's just say it's called Pinkleberry Muzzle Fluff. The fluff part being the other F word. And it is very good. However, it's about 40% alcohol, and it doesn't taste like alcohol, so you can get pretty messed up on that thing. I tasted it. It's very good. I recommend it, but only in small doses. So, WPAFA is a wrap. Got quite a few stories from that. I fursuited most of the time. I only went from Friday night to Sunday night. I did not do the entire weekend, which I believe started on Friday morning, because I worked up until basically I got in the car at 7 a.m. on Friday. I threw all my stuff in the car and I drove to work, and then I drove immediately from work to the convention. It's about a 1.5 hour drive for me, which is not terrible. I arrive at the location and I basically grab my fursuit bag and I shuttle up to the convention. I got there. I had to leave work early because I wanted to get there before registration closed. And I got up there. I dragged all my stuff in there and somehow registered with about half an hour to spare. Thankfully, there wasn't a long line, so I'm very thankful for that. The way they handled registration was very nice. They didn't have a long line, and they were just able to get you in and out and done. So thankful for the staff for being so accommodating. Also, I should mention they do free food. So if you've paid for a membership or a registration level of any kind, then you get free food. You can have, I believe they serve only lunch and dinner. So breakfast you're on your own, but lunch and dinner is what they serve. But it's like camp style food. Like they'll do like hot dogs or pizza or Mexicana or whatever they decide. So yeah, honestly, one of the best conventions I've been to. It is quaint, it's small, it's not very busy. You just go there to hang out with friends, enjoy some shows and some drinks and food, and there's not a whole lot going on, and that's on purpose. So I like to think of it as it's like a con away from cons. Like it's the kind of con you go to if you want to get away from like the big con venue style. I've been to the biggest furry con in the world, currently Anthrocon. I've been to the former biggest furry con in the world, MFF, Midwest Fur Fest, and those feels of big cons I cannot replace. However, I've also been to very small conventions like Anthro Ohio, Motor City Fur Con. I've been to other cons that of like a small variety as well, but yeah, that WPAFW is definitely it's like a vacation con away from big cons. So I highly recommend. Also, you have to shuttle your way back to the hotels because there are no hotels current to the location. They're about 5 miles away. So thankfully to the accommodating staff, they were able to shuttle us. Ow! That is claws, Archie. Claws, sir, can you unlatch them, please? I love you, but please do not use your claws on me. Thank you. So the staff, the drivers, all weekend long, shuttle people to and from the hotels. There are two main hotels, and they're about 5 miles away, like I said. And thankfully, I was able to get one of the main hotels this year, whereas last year I did not. That's a different story for a different time. But the long story short of that story is last year I registered for WPAFW. It was my first year to go. I got a room in the main hotel, the Home 2, and on the day that I was supposed to leave, they called me and they canceled my room. I don't know why. They did not give me a very solid reason. So instead, they fully compensated me by setting me up in the Hampton Inn about 5 miles away from that. So the hotel that I stayed in last year was in fact 10 miles away instead of 5. I can't complain too much because I got fully compensated for the cancellation, but they still never gave me a very reasonable answer as to why my hotel room was canceled. I don't know if they had like another event going on or something, but it was just dumb. Like I even fought with a lady who called me, and I feel bad for giving her a hard time, but they canceled my room. You can't not be mad about that. So that's what happened there. And we ended up having a good time last year anyway. But yeah, this year I think was even better because the accommodations were even better than the first year. So, I would have to say the thing that, ow, Archie, claws, ow. Sorry. Archie, can you lay down, please? Please lay down. I'll give you cookies later. Okay. Thank you. So, what do you want, sir? Why are you eating my shirt? That's the thing about tabbies is they'll just push microphones away for one thing, but they'll also Archie, your tail is being very naughty right now. Ow! And your claws are too. Excuse me, whilst I take care of this cat. Excuse me, 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. As I was saying, tabbies have a tendency to chew on things that they really should not be chewing on. So this cat is no exception. So I would say that the thing that made this con most memorable wasn't necessarily the con itself, but it was the normies of this convention. We stayed in a populated hotel that wasn't just for the convention. Like, we didn't book it out or anything. Like I said, a very small con, so it was it was still being shared by the public, which most con hotels are when there is a convention, and sometimes people may not even know what's happening. So yeah. So one of the things that I remember the most is the first night that I was there. It was a Friday night, and we had been at the convention, me and my friends. We did a lot of things, and we had a little bit of a fire. We had some drinks, and around, I want to say, like, maybe 9:30, 10, it was time to retreat back to the room because, like I said, I came straight from work, so I didn't even have time to unload my stuff into the hotel room that I was staying. So I got to the hotel. I unpacked my bags, unloaded, and I I I don't know what happened. Well, actually, I do know what happened, but it was very, very humorous as to the events that occurred here. Um, I got in a little. I got in a night outfit, is what I like to call it. It was basically a tank top, a skin tight spandex suit, and shorts, just to go to a room party because I like the full suit at room parties, but this room party called for something more comfortable, so I decided to go minimal and partial for a suit. So I got my little outfit on, my tail, my head, my paws, and all that, and I was with one of my roomies. We started to make our way down the elevator, and when we got to the lobby, there was a group of people standing outside of the elevator doors waiting to get on. And doors open, I'm in my suit. My roomie is not, because he is the one driving to the other hotel where we were going to have said room party. And doors open, and there's a group of people standing there, and a lady from that group pipes up and says, "Oh my gosh, is that a fox? Am I hallucinating?" I'm not hallucinating. That's a fox, right? So I just wave, and we start to exit the elevator, and she was just like, "Oh my gosh," as we were walking away. And then all of a sudden, as we're walking away towards the entrance, we hear like a thud, like a stoom behind us. And we're like, "What the frick?" And then we hear people start saying, "Oh my gosh, are you okay? Are you okay?" And then we realize that this same lady who was freaking out over my suit and asking if she was hallucinating absolutely biffs it in the elevator. Like, she just trips or something. I don't know what exactly happened, but she falls face first into the elevator. So, darling, if you're listening, I hope you're okay. I hope you did not get a concussion. I hope all is well. I'm pretty sure that was kind of my fault because I distracted her, and I feel bad. I feel bad for causing that or having some sort of causation to that effect. And then we go to the room party. We have a great time. We end up staying there until about 2 in the morning, and we decide, you know what, it's time to go back to the hotel to get some sleep. So we did that. But then we started to realize something. These people that we saw earlier that had the fall, unfortunately. Uh, they're part of a wedding party because, and we know this when we get back to the hotel that we were staying in. The doors open and we see this like little group of people standing or just sitting, like hanging out in the lobby. Um, they're having some drinks. They're by the fire, and then they're like, "Oh my gosh, look, a fox!" And I'm like, hi," I'm waving and stuff. Now, mind you, I'm in spandex, so I'm a little sweaty at this point. I'm just feeling kind of gross, like I really need a shower. So people at this point, they want a hug, they want pictures, they want to like just like when normally see a fursuiter, sometimes the tendency is to either like completely ignore it and ghost it, or crowd around it, and if they like ask you questions and like you interact with them. It goes both ways sometimes. So there was a lady who, not the same lady from earlier, but there was a lady in that little group that she was like, "Oh my gosh, can we get a picture, please?" And I nod, like, "Yeah, sure," and yeah, absolutely. But me and my roomie are feeling a little awkward about it because we had just come from a room party, and we're like, yeah, we're just kind of like we've been around people all day, and we're just like, it's that like post con day. You feel like you're just drenched and you need to like get some cleaning up to do, but you still got to interact. So they all crowd around me. I could smell the alcohol on their breath through my fursuit. It was not good. I could tell they've been drinking pretty heavily. And this is where we figured out it was a wedding party because they all had like really nice clothes on. They had tuxedos, they had flowers, they had the whole shebang, and they were just, getting drunk in the lobby at 2 in the morning, like you do. So I try to be accommodating, awkwardly speaking, actually, and I crowd around some guy of the party. He's the one taking the selfie. I just try to look cute, and then sadly, the girl who had suggested the picture got completely cut out of the picture. She was like way over on the edge, like she couldn't get in the picture. They took it and then we separated, and it was like, oh, I didn't realize this until afterwards. Like, oh crap, she wasn't even in the picture and she's the one who suggested it. I feel really bad now. And one of the individuals who was in this picture, who probably was the drunkest of all of this group, started like rubbing the back of my head like very violently. Like he was like giving me scritches, and I was like putting my paws up and like kind of batting at his hands, like semi playfully, but semi like, "Hey, you need to stop that right now because that's not cool. Like you're using your nails to like scratch my fursuit head, and I don't appreciate this. Remember, kids, and remember adults too. There is a person inside of that fursuit, and you could damage their suit if you're not careful. They are not an animal. Please be careful. Please be gentle with fursuiters." Anyhow, so I don't partially don't blame him because he was very drunk, but also I know that he was probably excited. So, sir, thank you for not damaging anything. The person who took the picture, the gentleman who took the picture, at one point was standing next to me, and then he said to me, quote, "So is furry like a derogatory term, or?" And I looked at my roomie, he looked at me, and we were like, we wanted to laugh, but I said, "No, it's what we're called. It's a good term. You can use that." He's like, "Oh, okay, good," because I didn't want to be disrespectful. And I was like, "That's really kind." So we walked away, we waved, we said our goodbyes, we got to the elevator, and then my roomie and I in the elevator just lost it. Like we were laughing so hard. Like, this is only the first night and already we've got some gems happening. I love this con. So that's something I'll never forget. First night at a con. Uh, at one point, at the very beginning of the con, I should mention, 5 minutes into first shooting at the con when I first got there, I had already spilled my drink. Like, no disrespect to anybody. It was an accident. Some friends came up to me and were saying hi, and I didn't look where I was going. I had a very long fursuit straw in my muzzle as I was drinking it. A friend came up and pranked me with a video by like booping my nose with it, and then there goes the drink to the floor. on the ground. Thankfully, it was outside, so hey, no big deal. But yeah, first spilled drink of the con was first night, like 5 minutes into it, and I had just suited up and I was drinking. So yeah, hey, shout out to you, friendo. But it wasn't your fault; it was mine. The next day, one of the interactions that happened that I won't forget was we had come back. I believe we had come back from dinner. We went to a very lovely burger place called Burgatory, which was very good. And the clerk lady, who was at the front desk, she saw our we weren't even in suit. It was me and my roomie going back up to the room for something, and I was wearing my tail and we were wearing our badges, and like we just looked con t-shirts, and we looked very like convention like oriented. We had the apparel and the tails and everything. And the lady at the front desk, bless her heart, she was like, "Hey, where the Furbies at?" Where the Furbies at? And I know what she was getting at because she works in Pittsburgh. She has seen furries before, Anthrocon. She understands the concept of furries and that they exist. But she said Furbies, and we just kind of looked at her and we said, "Oh, we're up at North Park." And she was like, "Oh, okay. Hope y'all are having fun." And I was like, "Well, thank you." So, again, we got to the elevator. We started dying, laughing, just because we were like, "Where the Furbies at?" So, that's become an inside joke ever since then. So, shout out to you, clerk lady. Thank you for your kindness. And then the last normie interaction that I had was something that I will not forget. This was something that I had to figure out on my own because I didn't realize the weight that it carried. Basically, I walked in the hotel. I was in fursuit. It was on Saturday night. It was a full day of con. Like, I had fursuited basically from sun up to sundown. I was tired, and it was about midnight. The shuttle had dropped me off. I was in full suit, by the way. I had to run to the shuttle, basically grab my fursuit bag and run to the shuttle in fursuit because I didn't want to miss it. Because they cap off the shuttle at a certain time, and then from there you're on your own. So, luckily I just made the shuttle, thanks to the crew for helping me out, being a fursuiter, and taking mercy on me for helping me get in the van and out of the van in a timely manner. I had gotten to the hotel. I was fumbling to get my key out because at a certain point of the night they lock the doors, the sliding doors that automatically open when you enter the hotel. And I was fumbling because I had my paws on and I had to get my key out so I could open the door. So finally get the key, I open the door, I walk in with my bag, I look very official. But mind you, I'm in full suit, and also mind you, I am in a harness. Yes, I'm in a collar and a harness, full suit, and I'm walking in, and picture this. Nobody's really in the lobby. I don't really see anybody. There's a clerk to my left, the night clerk is to my left, and there's a couple. I'm assuming that they were a couple in front of me in the dining area. And there's a very striking young lady that starts walking towards me. And when I say striking, I mean she looked like she was blonde. She had a very long, like prom-looking dress. She had high heels, like gold on the fingers, jewelry, makeup, and the whole shebang. I could only assume she was part of the wedding party. I don't know for sure, but she starts walking towards me, like right in front of me. So I stop, and she eyes me up and down. And then she asks me, and mind you, there's a clerk straight to the left of me. She asks me, "Hey, do you know where the bathrooms are?" And she says it with a smile. And I kind of freeze for a second, and I'm thinking, there's a clerk over there. Why are you asking me? But what the heck, I'll help you out. I was like, well, it's down to the left, and then you take another left, and it's right there. And she said, "Okay, thank you very much." And then she walks away, like very slowly. And I was like, all right, interesting. And then, mind you, the clerk is watching this whole thing. Well, then I start to walk away towards the elevators, which is also in the direction that she's going as well. And then, to my right, in the dining area, I hear the following words. Uh-oh, Janice is going home with a furry. Look out. I guess the gentleman that she was with, don't know if they were dating or not, but yeah, he said, good job, buddy. I was like, thanks. And then I walked to the elevator with my fursuit bag, and I'm just like, what the heck was that? Janice is going home with a furry. Look out, buddy. Or no, look out. Good job, buddy. And I was just like, what? Huh? So I have reason to believe that maybe she didn't actually need the bathroom. Was that like a come on, or was that like a flirt, or is that just her way of like introducing herself or getting her foot in the door of like, I want to get to know this individual? I don't know. I can't really know for sure. All I know is that the interaction was a little awkward, and the male in the room there saying that just kind of took me off guard, and then it made sense later, like, oh, that was probably some sort of a a pickup, maybe. Maybe I'm reading too far into it. Like, let me know in the comments, what do you think that was? But yeah, I got to the elevator, I go up, and by the way, all my roomies are asleep at this point, so I swear that was the quietest that I had ever desuited in my life. I like completely, like, I just peeled myself out of my fursuit so quietly. Nobody woke up, thankfully, except for my one roomie, who I accidentally set my bag on his legs on the bed. My bad. Sorry for waking you up. And I basically peeled myself out of my suit, and I got in bed and went to sleep and woke up the next day just like everything else. Every other day. So, that's one I'll never forget. I should mention two other things that happened. So, at one point, I meet up with a very lovely individual by the name of Scurrow the Squirrel. For those of you who don't know, Scurrow has been in the fandom a long time. He has a band called I've Made Too Much Pasta. Yes, that is the band name. You should look him up. I have been a fan of his work for quite a while, and he just happened to be at this con, and I was like, hey, cool, Scurrow's here. So, this is Saturday night. I go up to him in my harness and my collar, and I go, hey, Scurrow, how's it going? And he's like, oh, good, and we just like start talking and stuff. He opts to rub my belly a lot, and he was telling me how nice it is, and he was saying things like, you know, I could fall asleep on this belly, and how would you feel if I started punching it? And he did start punching it. Lightly, not to hurt me, but he started punching my belly. He was in fursuit, by the way, I should mention. And I was like, well, I could get used to this. And our conversation was very flowery from there. But we hung out for about a good hour or so. It was really good to meet up with him and like get to talk to him, like for real. I had met him one other time at Anthrocon, but we never really got to talk. He was on his way somewhere. But anyway, I had a very lovely time. He actually played one of his songs for me. I name dropped one of his song titles, just nonchalantly to see how he would respond. And sure enough, he responded well, and he said, I can play that song for you. I was like, would you? Thank you. So he played a song by the name of Parents Just Don't Understand. And it was a very good rendition. And he made up some lyrics, and I thought it was hilarious. So thank you, Scurrow, for indulging me with your belly rubbing, your flowery commentary, and your guitar playing. So I appreciate what you do. Thank you for really making my con. It meant a lot. The other interaction that I had during this time with Scurrow was my name badge. My little light up LED name badge had fallen off, unfortunately, so I had to get some help putting it back on. It had fallen to the ground, sadly, and I didn't realize it until someone had put it like on Scurrow's nose as I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, that's my badge. Oh, it fell off. Oh no. And then someone from the crowd that we were in during this interaction with my badge sitting on Scurrow's nose takes the badge and starts to pin it back on me. Now, I should mention this individual was very drunk. This individual was also very kind to be helping me out with my badge. And shout out to you, individual, and I'll get into who it is in a minute, started to pin the badge back on me. It had a pin, so it was very sharp, and I didn't want them to stab themselves in their inebriation. So they fiddled with it for about 5 minutes, maybe 10, to try and get it back on me, and they couldn't do it. And then they gave up, and they're like, I'm just too drunk for this. And then I heard an accent in their voice. I'm like, who is this? And then someone said their name as they were walking away. I said, thank you for trying, and they... Turns out that individual who was helping me with my badge was none other than Duke Doberman. You heard correct. Duke Doberman, out of suit and slightly inebriated, was helping me try to put my badge back on. So, thank you, Duke, for being there and for helping me out as best you could. I really appreciate you. You are a lovely individual, and I hope you had a good time at the con if you ever hear this. So, yeah. That was my only real interaction with you, Duke, so, and it was a very sweet one and wholesome, so thank you very much for your help. Turns out Scurrow just ended up pinning it back on me as best he could, and we were good from there, but that was a memorable Saturday night, to say the least. That's something I'll never forget either. I saw a lot of friends. I got to meet up with some people that I hadn't seen in a while, and it was really good to reconnect with them. This has just been a great con. Like, Manic, Cat, and his crew, Manic being the chairman of WPAFW, and his crew of staff members and volunteers, thank you all for making this con so memorable. It's something that I won't forget. I'm looking forward to next year. I will be back, and I have to thank Chomp Doggo and the lovely Kane for... taking some spectacular pictures of us on the island outside of the campground or outside of the fair or the park ground. We got some really photogenic shots. Thank you both for making it so, and for getting some pictures of us. Really appreciate you. So that was this past weekend. That was WPAFW, and I got home around, I want to say like 9:30, something like that. I was really sad to leave, but I went into the week feeling very, very refreshed. Like, I really needed that con to just kind of refresh and bring myself back to reality and reset myself. And it was like a mini vacation, and I cannot think of a better way to do my last weekend. So if any of you are in the northeast side of the U.S., or even if you're not, I highly recommend WPAFW because there are people who have come abroad. I met some people from England, someone from Germany, some people from the western United States and southern, and it's just, all around great con. So, hey, if you're ever in the western Pennsylvania area in the month of October, feel free to check out WPAFW. I will leave a link in the description. You can read up on what they do and what they're all about. So, thank you again, staff and everybody involved and friends that I got to see. I really appreciate you all. It was a great and memorable time, and I'm looking forward to next year. So, that, my friends, is WPAFW. Now, at one point, I forgot to mention, at one point, Scurrow was was debating whether or not he should pee in the woods because he really had to pee. And also, we started singing sea shanties. Barrett's Privateers, to be exact, in the hotel room, and a very lovely individual during dinner one night was singing The Mary Ellen Carter with me, which both songs are by Stan Rogers, if you don't know. Two of my favorite songs by Stan Rogers, so thank you for indulging me, people. All right, and now on to the regular stuff. What happened? These two things actually happened today. It was at work today. Work was kind of pretty lax this week. Not a whole lot happened. Today, during my overtime hours, I work with my lovely coworker Dale, who I've talked about on this podcast before. He's the one I mentioned before that was like, oh, can you believe someone would pay $16,000 for a real life collie suit? It's the same guy. He was joking around with me. He was saying I should go to some singles groups and meet women, I guess. And he was saying that he would love to be a fly on the wall of that group of me, like going to meet women, I guess. And he would walk in with a old school camcorder and start interviewing ladies and saying, "You need to go meet this guy Sam. He's such a great guy, and he'll do." And I'm just like, dude, why? So that was our conversation tonight. I don't know why, but I don't even know what brought it up. I think it was just him being a pain like he usually is, trying to push my buttons, I guess. So here's to you, Dale. Thank you for thank you for being a wingman, I guess. That made today memorable. And to cap off the day, on Wednesdays I usually go and see my parents, and today I had taken my laundry over to do it for free because my complex, you can do laundry, but you have to pay $1 a load, which I think is a ripoff. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go to my parents' house and do laundry there. So I start doing laundry, and it's always a challenge doing laundry at my parents' house because I never know what they're gonna see. I've washed my fursuit there before. I've washed certain outfits there before. Like the maid outfit I've washed there a number of times. I've washed like my balaclavas and my fursuit paws and that kind of stuff. And today I washed a pair of boxer briefs, which I had gotten from a friend of mine. And they are, let's just say that they are very flashy. They are by Bearskin, which specializes in plus size men underwear, if you know what I'm saying. It caters to a very specific community. They're called Bearskin for a reason, and I'll just leave it at that. A friend of mine was very, very kind to let me have a pair. Thank you. Shout out to you, Ty, for hooking me up with a pair of underwear. My mom was standing there talking to me as I'm unloading my laundry and putting it in the washer, and I pull out the pair of bearskin underwear that is purple and striped and very flashy. And I start to put it in the washer, and she was like, "Hey, what did I just see? What is that?" And I showed it to her, and she takes it from me, and she looks it over, and she was like, "That's kind of flashy, don't you think? Where'd you get these?" And I'm like, "Oh, a friend of mine gave them to me. He had some extra pairs, and yeah, they're free." And she was like, it doesn't really seem your style." And I was like, "Yeah, well, they were free, so I can't dispute it." And she was like, "Yeah, that's true, but..." And I said, "Hey, they're comfortable and they're stretchy." And she's like, "Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they're very nice, but they're very loud." It's like, yes, they are. So I took them back from her and threw them in the washer and closed the lid. That's how I handled that. That's how you have to do it, kids. Whenever your parents see something that you are not entirely sure that you want them to see, just play it cool. Be honest. Don't lie. Play it cool. Don't freak out. Don't cry if you can help it. Like, just be calm, because you don't want them to think that you're into something that you shouldn't be. So, yeah, that's how that was handled. So, shout out to you, Bearskin. Shout out to you, Ty. And shout out to you, Mom, for being an absolute legend in that. Oh, my gosh. I'll never forget that. From today. This happened only mere hours ago. So, that's what happened. Anyhow, now, we are I should say we are nearing the end of this podcast, so I have a question that I would like to read from a very lovely Derg by the name of Zeon, the Mecha Dragon, or the Mech Dragon, however you say it. So, shout out to you, Zeon. The question is, if you could go to any time period and change events without killing people and without any repercussions, would you? And if you say yes, what time period would you go to and why? To me, that's very easy. I would go back 3 years to 2020 during the corona outbreak, and I would, knowing the information that I know now, I would go to like wherever the origin of COVID was, I would do my best to make it so to where I go to the outbreak area or wherever that is. I wouldn't want to hurt anybody because it says without killing anybody, but I wouldn't want to alter anybody, their history or anything. And I would just say, hey, here's what's going to happen in 3 years. This needs to be handled right now. Stop what you're doing. Here's how it actually is, and here's how you can prevent it. So I would go back 3 years and do whatever I could to prevent COVID from spreading, because it has taken a lot of lives. It has changed a lot of things in our world, and I would not wish that upon anybody again. So yes, I would go back and I would change the virus, whatever that looks like. Whatever I had to do. Again, wouldn't take any lives, wouldn't hurt anybody, wouldn't want to hurt anybody or take any lives, but yeah, if I were to go back in time, it would be 3 years ago to the whole COVID outbreak, and I would stop it, or try to. Thanks for the question, Zion. I really appreciate that. All right, so that's going to be the podcast. I really hope that you all enjoyed listening. If you're still here listening, I thank you for tuning in once again. Thank you for your continued support on this channel and over on the main channel. I cannot thank you enough for your overwhelming support and love that you outpour every day to me. I see your comments, I see your likes and your subscriptions. It really means a lot. It's something that I can never pay back. That is something I have accepted. I cannot pay it back. So anything that I can do to continue to entertain or to make your day, I am willing to do that wholeheartedly. You have no idea that you have changed my life. You've changed my outlook on a lot of things. You've taught me how to be more humble in my life, and I cannot thank you enough for that. So, hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back again next week for the next one. Looking forward to the continued live streams and videos that are going to come out. We are nearing 3,000 subscribers on the main channel, which is absolutely insane, and I cannot thank you all enough for that. I don't deserve it, and I certainly do not take any credit for any of it, because if it wasn't for all of you, none of this would be possible. And in the same fashion that I end every podcast, I want to leave you with these words that I learned a long time ago. The Latin phrase you'll see at the end of all my videos, Sic Parvis Magna. It is translated from Latin to English, greatness from small beginnings. Basically to say, never forget where you came from. Never forget your origins and your humble beginnings, and compare that to where you are now, and never forget the people that brought you up and the people that got you to where you are now. Because without them and without the situations that happened, you wouldn't be here right now. Be grateful for where you are now. No matter how your circumstances look, even if they're not great, they won't stay that way forever, and you can learn from every single experience that you've ever had. But never forget where you started and where you are now. In the same fashion, always be you. Be yourself, be authentic, be real. Don't let anybody tell you who you are or what you should be, and nobody can be like you the way that you can. There's never been anyone like you in this entire world, and there will never be anyone like you in the future, and there's nobody like you right now. So be you, and only be you, because everything happens for a reason, and you're here to fulfill a purpose, and do not cut that short, and do not dispute it, and for all that is holy, never forget that there is no one like you in this entire world. Be unique, because you are. And that's going to wrap it. So I will talk to you all next week. Thank you for being here again. I'm looking forward to it. And until next time, this is Samson Kitty Fox, and I will see you on the next podcast. Bye. Bye-bye. Mm-hmm.